Hello and welcome back to OC Avery. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make nest sites for British finches and particularly breeding them in captivity compared to people looking to actually have nest boxes in their gardens for the wild birds. So I'm going to be showing you how to make a nest quite like this. Now this is designed for my Greenfinches and I will be using this on my Greenfinches this year. I'll also be using it on my Bullfinches. It will be in there with the Goldfinches as well. The Crossbills will get something similar to this, as well as a few other birds. Generally, this nest site would work for almost any British finch. Greenfinches love this, Crossbills, Bullfinches, Goldfinches. I think a yellowhammer would probably go for something like this. Chaffinch, Bramble, anything like that. So I'm going to show you how I make these and just how the step-by-step process I do for this, and hope you enjoy it and find it useful. So this is the equipment you're going to have to use. You're going to need a drill, some different screws, different sizes. You're going to need a pencil, a set square, a tape measure, a nest. I've got a piece of pallet board and some wood. So you're going to have to start with actually measuring the nest pan you want to put in. This is a cocoa fibre nest liner, it's 12 centimetres diameter. And then measuring the thickness. Now I've chosen 10 centimetres to 12 just because it's a more accurate measurement, because you don't have to account for the end of the tape measure. So from there I'm going to take the 12 centimetres and then add 2 either side, so that's going to be 16 centimetres for the size of the nest plus the width either side, which you'll see a little bit later in this video. Marking that with a set square to get us a straight line, and obviously using the pencil to mark that out quite simply. I've attached that into the vise, and just with my saw I'm going to have to now cut down the line. Now ideally you do want to keep down that down that line, just because you ideally want a square, and just to keep it as straight as possible. Now remember, this is just a bird nest, it's for Greenfinches or whatever you're making it for, so it doesn't have to be square. The bird isn't going to be bothered that it's a little bit off, but it's just a good little thing to do, and obviously just keeping it quite nice and neat for yourself as well, because I would be very annoyed if I was to cut this at a dodgy angle. So that's just simple and undone like that. So then I'm just filing it. That again is just for my sake, just deburring it, removing any of the excess bits of sharp wood which we've cut off, and just doing that all sides. It's just going to make a bit of a nicer finish to the head of those boards. So then that's the first board. Not much to look at really. We've just cut that, so that's now 16 centimetres in length. So that is actually the we're going to get the nest liner in the centre, and it gives us room either side. So then from there we're just going to want to repeat that process, because we're going to be making the backboard. Now what I'm doing is making that the same size, and that just makes it very simple, so that then we have a good board to back onto, so then we can screw that into the back of the flight or whatever you're using, and both of these boards are now identical. Now I've cut it. So then you're going to have to measure, so that's a 20 centimetre thickness. So then at 10 centimetres or 10 millimetres, sorry, 1 centimetre or 10 millimetres, you are going to want to mark a centre line, and then using the set square, just run that across, and you have a centre line which we're then going to use to actually mark out where our screws are going to be going as we make this platform, which is in the shape of an L. Now this is 15 centimetres long, so we're going to put a mark on the centre point, which is 7.5, and then I'm roughly coming in about 3 centimetres either side, just to give us a good size. And we've got 3 now crosses for where we can actually put our screws to make this this L shape, which is ideal. Now you're going to want to check that your screws are thick enough, because you know it's not going to be holding, so I'm looking for really, you're probably going to want about double the length, and then I'm just going to run that through prior to actually fixing it, just because it makes it so much easier doing all 3 just in place just like that, so that when I can come to attaching it to the other board it's very simple and they're already there. So you're going to want to line up the the board. Now, as you see, at the bottom, I've slightly come out, but I did fix that after I'd noticed. And you're just going to want to slowly drill them in. You're going to want to make sure it's all right, both sides are level, and you are happy with it. And then slowly putting them in, because we don't want to split the wood, and that's not ideal. And obviously, by doing it on a centre line as well, it means that you're going to get the centre of the other piece of wood we're actually screwing them into, so you're just less likely to split the wood, and you're going to get a stronger hold. So that's the joint, just like that. And then we have our cocoa fibre nest liner in place like that. So it does look quite quite small there. So then we're going to measure that. So that's about 15.5 centimetres across. So I'm then going to get a piece of 1 inch by 1.5 inch wood, and just measure that up to 15.5 centimetres. Now we're going to use this to actually hold the cocoa nest liner in place. Again, using the set square just to get us a nice straight line ready for cutting. Now that's been cut, we just put that in place, and the idea is that's going to hold that nest liner as well as act as a hold for our sticks and the perches that we're going to add. So then I've marked out a third each way, so it's 5 centimetres in, 5 centimetres in from each side, just quite easily like that. So then we're just marking the line for where we're going to actually do a pilot hole. Now the reason for doing this is ideally I don't want to be splitting the wood, and just try and keep it as neat as possible and do it as professionally as possible. Now you are likely to encounter a knot in the wood, which like I've done here, which actually did trap my drill bit at a point, but I did just undo that and we went straight through. So no problem there, just clean that off. And just have a nice little thing there to then actually put our screws through. So I've got some slightly longer screws, because obviously we need them at 1.5 inch plus a bit of extra length to actually screw into the platform. So I'm just slowly working them in, because again, I don't want to be cracking the wood. Ideally, it's not much of a big deal if you do. It's just a nest, but then again, it's just a good craftsmanship there. So I'm just removing now the metal bit from the cocoa fibre nest liner. That's just going to make it so much easier for the birds, not going to get in the way. And then just to secure that nest liner in, I'm just going to use a little screw here. It's only about 1 centimetre or 10 millimetres. And we're just screwing that through the bottom of the nest. And then with the wicker in the bottom, just covering the head of that screw so that the birds aren't trying to pull that out, and can just build the nest quite happily on top of that. So with this piece of wood, I'm now just going to attach that to the front. That's going to hold the nest in place and act as a bit of a barrier, so we can actually attach the perches to the front of this platform, which is obviously the best idea when it comes to breeding birds. It just makes it a bit more natural for them, rather than having just a piece of wood like that to land on, which they wouldn't naturally have. Now, as you have noticed here, I did go a little bit further, and did actually crack that piece of wood, but again, it's just a nest. So I've got some apple branches here off an apple tree. Fruit tree branches are really, this is the safest thing you can go for. So I've just got a little screw here, and just going to get that into the wood. It is quite difficult, especially with smaller, thinner twigs like this, and just got a really small piece, a small screw. So just got that in there, and just making sure that I am happy with how that's going. Now what I have got here is an ideal, so the bird can perch on the front as well as a higher point for the cockbird to sit, as well as for when the parents come to feed, so they can lean over the nest as the chicks lean out. So that first bit's screwed in, and I do want to put it both sides, because it just means more access for the parents and a little bit more natural for the parents as well. And obviously for that hen wanting to build, we want to make sure that she is happy and she is comfortable. So just putting the next screw in now to fix down. Now you don't need to go too many, just enough to hold it in. Obviously these birds are weighing probably 30 grams, so it really doesn't take much, maybe a little bit more, but still. And then just from there we've got a screw, just screw that in, and that's how we're actually going to fix the platform to the inside of a flight cage for whatever you're breeding them in and what I'm breeding them in. So now it's time to actually wrap that platform. So I'm using a Christmas tree, so that's obviously a type of pine tree. or spruce trees. So that's just my of choice, because I can quite easily get them straight after Christmas. There's loads going, loads of people are taking them to the skib, and provided they don't have resin on them, they're safe, and it's perfect just like that. And that's it, wrapped quite nicely. We've got some cover there just for the birds. They're going to be happy with that, and that's more than substantial enough. And they will get some cover, obviously, around that as well when it's fixed up in the flight, but that's a nice little platform. And then just to fix that up in your flight where you're happy with it, I'm just fixing this up now, so that's just to see how it sits, and I just want to make sure I am happy with that before I go actually get, putting that to the side and ready for the birds to use. And now we've got some good cover there. The perches are either side, so the parents can access the nest quite easily, and when the chicks are leaning out and they are hungry, they can quite easily lean over them to feed them. So that was the step-by-step process to how I make these. Now, this is just what I'm using. I know some people make similar and other people do different. This is just what I do. I just thought I'd share that with you guys, and hopefully you have found this useful. It is a cocoa fibre nest pan as well. I got that from Direct Bird Products, so go and check them out if you're after some as well. Relatively good. I'm hoping it should work fine. Obviously, I'll be using those in the next few weeks when I come to actually pair the birds up around the start of April, for most of them anyway, although we do have the canaries and the crossbills outside already paired up, as well as one of the crossbill greenfinch hybrid pair. So that's how to make the nest. So I hope you have found this useful. If you have, please do subscribe, and that'll let you carry on watching my videos on a weekly basis. Small, short how-to videos, as well as longer episodes on a Saturday. Please leave us a like if you have enjoyed this video and found it useful. Hit the notification bell, and then that will update you every single time I upload, so you don't miss any of my future videos. And please do share this with someone who you think would find it useful. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.